Good evening to you. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. The Premier League Roundup show back for another week. Quiet weekend, lads. Wasn't it? Nothing much really happened. I hope you are all well. The normal crew are with me again this week. How are you?
Hello, mate. Lost you there.
Okay. Yeah.
Really good though. All well.
Good stuff. And Josh as well. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, okay. We're going to mix things up a little bit tonight, just because we can. We're going to run through 5 Premier League games, the 5, in my opinion, that are the most important, and then go on to just some topic that has got 3 letters, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Our resident Spurs fan has joined us. David, you obviously got nothing else to do. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We should have a few more people watching tonight because Fat Frank is on Monday Night Football, so nobody will be wanting to watch that. So we should have a few more people joining us tonight. Michael, evening all, Liverpool. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Usual suspect as well. Terry, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Josh's granddad is here. Not a good weekend for Everton after a couple of good results. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. Corey, thanks for joining us as well. Right, we'll start at Villa Park, where it kicked off for this weekend's Premier League action. Aston Villa 6. Brighton 1, with a video of some Brighton fans leaving after just 28 minutes to get back down south nice and early. Josh, what on earth happened?
I still can't really believe it now, to be honest. It was unbelievable. I really didn't. I thought we'd be the one who was getting battered before the game after getting beat to Everton in midweek, which is just embarrassing considering they ended up losing to Luton. But no, I think it's one of the best performances I've ever seen. A Villa team. I think it was just brilliant. With Emery completely outwitted De Zerbi. We just couldn't let them get out. We were on the toes straight away as soon as they try and play out. Watkins, Diaby, McGinn straight on the defenders' toes, forcing them to go along, which a Brighton team don't usually do. And instead of us trying to play out like we normally do, we also went a bit more direct, put Watkins and Diaby on Duncan Webster, and we were aggressive. And it worked right from the start. As soon as we got the first on, the floodgates sort of opened a bit then. What I will say is the third goal probably shouldn't have stood. It did look like a foul. I can't remember who it was on, but yeah, Douglas Luiz committed a foul and that probably should have been disallowed. The second one was also a VAR check where Zaniolo looked like he was blocking the goalkeeper's view. However, we had one of them against Liverpool the other week where Salah was blocking Martinez's view and that goal stood. So if you're being consistent, then that probably should have stood. So can't complain about that one. But I think even if the third goal was disallowed, I don't think it would have made much difference to the game, to be honest. We were just in control for the majority of it. I think they come out with a block quite quick. Start of the second half, they'd had a rocket. I think De Zerbi definitely needed to do that to them in half time. But once we got the fourth one, after 60 minutes, we were back in control then. And yeah, it was just a very good performance. I did get a bit nervy once they got the first goal, but we were just in control from start to finish. The midfield was just brilliant. Kamara back to his best. Douglas Luiz, he's one of the best midfielders in the league. He's just getting better and better every week. I think he's scored 5 home games in a row now, which is like best time since Dwight York. So that's a very good individual record for him. Moussa Diaby as well, just very good player, just complete opposite to like the likes of Bailey, just a top quality player. Watkins as well, also looked a different player, obviously getting a hat-trick, and I said it before, he's not a goal scorer or finisher, and when you're not that, you've got to play in confidence, and when he is confident in the moment, once he gets one goal, he'll usually go on a good run then, and he's on that good run at the moment. Put a lot more solid defensively as well. Konza and Torres, both much better. Matty Cash as well. The only one I would say still struggling a bit is Luca Digne. Well, hopefully, if Moreno comes back from injury soon, he can take his place and we're back solid there as well. Jacob Ramsey also coming back from injury off the bench, getting his goal as well. He's sharp, which is good to see. So, yeah, it's a funny game how we lose to Everton midweek and then beat these 6-1 on the weekend. It's a strange game sometimes, but no, he did completely out tactic them just with how direct we were, how aggressive we were. I've never seen it well. Yeah, it's just a brilliant all-round performance.
There we go. You can tell Josh is happy because we got no time left on the show. I'm only joking. Very good, Josh. Listen, I was chuffed. I was loving life. Stood outside on the stadium in the sun, watching my fantasy league points go up after I swapped Isak out for Watkins this weekend. The magic touch, and look, I think you've got to give it a credit for how they've responded from the European defeat on the opening day. Gonna beat Chelsea and then gonna beat Brighton 6-1. I think that's a superb response. And Brighton, one of these two teams are going to struggle with the European schedule, whether it be both of them or not. But Brighton are already falling a little bit behind, and they look brilliant in some games. In this game against us, they looked awful. So it's one to keep an eye on in that sense. We'll move to the relegation battle. It's not quite one yet, but I mean, football's a funny game, Sean. Everton, 2 decent results. Luton rock up and they beat them. I mean, you just can't write this stuff, can you?
No, it's standard Everton, isn't it? I mean, you think they're making a bit of progress. Got to give credit to Luton. They got their first win. I'm glad they've got it because we got them this week, and that was written in the stars. That'll be their first win. Which direction would you got? I suppose you've got to praise Luton. We've slagged off these teams down the bottom since the season started. You I don't suppose we did think that Everton are up and running because the team's not great. But it's just a very bad result for a minute. Do you know what I mean? With the 2 wins they've had, I think one was in the cup. Luton at home next. The fans don't think they don't believe in the team that much, but you'd think that was a chance to at least get another win on the board. But Luton, they sort of huff and puff a little bit, don't they? I know we've sort of said don't expect they'll get more than 20, and they probably still won't, but it's not doing the bottom of the league any favours for quality. That's a definite. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll be honest, I didn't see any of the goals. I followed it with my losing bet going all belly up again like it usually does. I think I had Everton to win 3-1 or something ridiculous, but it's a shocking result. It really is. I know they've got Everton have got Harrison in the team now. They won from Leeds on loan, is it? He's fit to be playing now, whipping balls in. I don't know. I know we're only 7 or 8 games in, but you look at Everton already, you just can't see them getting. They're not going to climb up the league, are they? They're going to be right down there throughout the whole season. It's going to be a shocking season. I'm not sure if that new stadium is ready for next season. Is it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure the condition of it, but you don't want to be opening a brand new 50-seater stadium
in the Championship.
Do you know what I mean? But we'll keep an eye on these teams on the bottom.
Yeah,
probably with very little interest, to be honest, because there's very little to get excited about any of them. Like I said, my lot have got Luton this week in the early kickoff. Kind of got banana skitting written all over it a little bit, but yeah, it's a good win for Luton. That might give them a bit of a lift. On the Brighton game a minute ago, like you said, we'll keep an eye on Brighton. I think with Brighton, De Zerbi's one of these managers, like a lot of them, he's got them playing a brilliant brand of football. But when teams work him out, they lack those individual stars to dig him out of a hole.
Do you mean when David Moyes worked him out in August, Sean? Yeah,
well, they saw. I don't know if Josh seen it, but before the game, they were showing tactics a few teams used against them, like the different way. I think one team set up man for man, just how they do it. If their plan A is not working out, I suppose they've got a bit of a plan B. I know they change it a bit. Sometimes good footballing sides need just a couple of magicians that can find the pass, can score a 95th minute winner, do you know what I mean? Can score a brilliant goal. And I think we've said before, if you list Brighton's whole squad, this is credit to De Zerbi, really, but this could be their downfall as well. If you list their whole squad and say, right, West Ham, take 5 players you take there into West Ham, you probably wouldn't find 5 you take individuals. You probably wouldn't. You'd probably find 2, 3 at the top individuals that you'd want. Because they're not a team of individuals. They're a good team, but sometimes to win the hard games or the games that aren't going your way, just need that bit of individual quality. Do you know what I mean?
And just to follow up on that with you, Josh, is what I noticed when we play Brighton, and I don't know if you noticed the same thing. We seem to we put them against the wall, which Villa quite clearly resoundingly did. And Moyes identified something down the left hand side, and that was their downfall. But I was staggered by the lack of plan B, as Shaw mentioned, that Brighton have. Did you see that? Because it seems like, I didn't watch it, but it seems like Villa seemed dominated and Brighton had no answer, which was what they had in our game.
Yeah, well, they've got one way of playing, really, haven't they? And if it goes wrong, then they have got a few batterings, like Everton at home last season, West Ham at home, now Villa. They do just get them thumpings every now and again, randomly, just because of the way they play. And if they get found out, it can go wrong for them. Like, we've just put Zaniolo and McGinn, who are both centre of the park players. We just put them both out wide and just put them on the fullbacks and just kept going direct, and they just bullied in the whole game. And Watkins and Diaby as well on Duncan Webster, and they just couldn't cope with that either. Another thing is the back line isn't that quick. I think they've got Lamptey, he doesn't play every game, but the two centre halves, they're not quick. Duncan Webster, so that's another thing. If you play over the top, they can also easily be got at there as well. So yeah, it's just they are a very good side, and when the football does come off, it looks very good. But when they get found out, they have taken a few thumpings.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree. Right, let's take some comments before we move on to Wolves versus Man City. We will do that in just a second. But firstly, Josh's granddad says Villa. If I press on it, everything's slow tonight. What's going on? There we go. Villa. It's gone. Come on, laptop, speed up. There we go. Villa were great, Josh. Well done, especially coming back after your defeat to Everton midweek. Just slip that in there, nice and easy. I like it. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Question is, who will get sacked first, Ten Hag or Poch? Well, that is a debate for another day. But I've got a feeling if Fulham turn up tonight, then there might be an urgent board meeting. That is my instinct. Will they do it? Will they not? I don't know. Well, they can ask Frank Lampard on Monday Night Football for his, amazing insight to the situation at Everton and at Chelsea, two clubs that you ruined. Oh dear. Right, let's scroll down. Portugal go if he loses tonight, says Peter.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. No.
Frema, hope you are well. Everybody having a chat with each other. We were poor, says Josh's granddad. Sean's popping in and out. There he is. He's back again. Right, let's move on to the Wolves game. Dawson had an absolute blinder again. It warmed my heart to see all of the Wolves fans on Twitter. Having nothing but good words to say about Craig Dawson. And I didn't think that they would keep on to a lead, but they did. Wolves 2, Manchester City 1. I've seen a few Arsenal fans pretty happy about that because it's the invincible thing gone for another year. And we questioned Wolves whether they'd be able to score goals at the start of the season. They had one shot on target in this game, and they scored from it because the other goal that was scored was an own goal. But fair play to them. Josh, I'll come to you.
Yeah, well, it's the complete opposite of Wolves this season because they've had, in all the other games, a bit like Everton, they've had countless chances, but just haven't been able to put them away. But they were clinical, fair enough. They took the one chance. And yeah, the back line was just sublime. That Craig Dawson, he must be getting on now, but he's still a quality player. Dealt with forwards really well. And Pedro
his name's Ballon Dawson, really. Match of the day use it as well. I've still got that there. He's just a legend. He is.
Yeah, he is probably their best defender, even at his age. And Pedro Neto as well, I say it every week, but he's just by far their best player. Just again for the goal, he went past 4 players, didn't he? And eventually managed to go in. And the Wolves fans are giving that Nunes quite a bit of stick after he went there. No, City, it's a strange one. I don't think Pep was on the sideline because I think he's banned already for free bookings or something. So I don't know how much that had an impact, but they did absolutely batter them as well from what I've seen on the highlight. Man City, but they just defended very well. The goalie also had a good game that saw. And they were clinical when they took the chances. Hwang as well, he always comes up with a few good goals for them. And yeah, I think Wolves should just about have enough this season. I think they've got too much quality up front if they keep holding Neto for the season. That Kwang as well. And they've not got a bad back line either with Dawson and a few others. So yeah, that's Semedo. He's come on a lot this year. He used to be quite poor. Looks a lot better this year. So yeah, I think they'll definitely have enough. And we play them next week as well. And we never ever get anything there. We've got West Ham and Wolves. There are 2 bogey teams, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, very good win for Wolves. Definitely not expected. But as for City, I still think they'll more than comfortably win the league in the end. But yeah, at least they're invincible. They haven't gone invincible again for another year.
Sean, we've mentioned City at length about how they haven't looked as good as they have done in recent seasons, but they've got the job done in recent weeks. This week, they didn't. Do you think they'll be asking questions? That's 2 losses in a week, of course, the Carabao Cup as well, that Guardiola discarded pretty quickly. A cause for concern at the Etihad, Sean, or not?
They had a pretty dodgy VAR one as well, didn't they? Was it the I can't remember. It should have, when their players have had a set. I think the one who got the winner should have been sent off with a second booking.
Oh, really?
He was even sat on the floor waiting for the card, and it didn't come. You can see the look on his face. So we'll get on to that later on. But I don't know. I haven't seen the actual lineup. I know Alvarez scored for City, and obviously I know Haaland played. I think they're massively missing Rodri. That's what it is. I think he is such a crucial player. I think the only other player in the squad who can play that role, I think he's not fit, and that's John Stones.
What about Calvin Phillips?
I've never been his biggest fan, as you know, and always said they only signed him because of his English passport. But he played in midweek in the Carabao Cup, sorry. Yeah. And the City fans could not believe how bad he was. They had the knives. I think the winner, he was standing, walking on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the replay, and he's almost like chasing shadows against Wolves when I watched a bit of that, because I was flicking between. I was with my youngest, and I said, let's watch a bit of the West Ham game. And after 20 minutes, we decided to turn that off. And we just couldn't. I'll be honest with you, at the 3 o'clock, we couldn't really find the game to get into. They all seemed a bit flat. None of them are great, but
I can vouch for the one in East London. Yeah,
I think City, for all the money they've got, I think John Stones has played holding midfield, and he's played that very well. I think it was the end of last season. Did he play that in the Champions League final? I can't remember. But Rodri's, they just can't. I think they're just a different team without him. And don't forget, they've lost a lot of very experienced midfielders in the summer as well. So you take out Rodri as well. I just think he controls the game for them. And a team that rich maybe shouldn't have that problem, although they spent 50-odd million on Phillips, but he's nowhere near the same player. Not even closer to a Rodri. So it sounds something very simple and little. I think like losing Gundogan, Mahrez, and there's another one that went in summer.
They've lost a lot of players.
Yeah. So this is like experienced players that got them over the line the last couple of years. I think they need Rodri back. I think he's still got another 2-game ban, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think he's missing the Arsenal game, isn't he? So I think Pep's that's this Sunday, obviously. So he's going to have to. I'll be surprised if we see Phillips start, put it that way. I just think he needs a complete rethinking in there. I don't think Phillips is up the pace. I think it's even would it come out just for the Carabao Cup game, because they knew he was going to play. It came out that Pep said he actually admitted he hasn't managed to get the best out of him.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, and I think the issue that they've got there is that Pep will find a way. There's no doubt about it. But not Kai Havertz, what's his name? Phillips has linking 2 crap players together. You've got Calvin Phillips there, who's not played a lot of football. And they put him straight into a fast-paced game against Newcastle midweek. And yeah, I mean, no sugar Sherlock. He looked crap. But yeah, I don't know. They will find a way around it. But I think there's a
John Stone could be the answer there, but I don't know how close to fitness he is.
Yeah, I agree. Leave poor Frank alone. Exactly, he's got enough on his plate. Ashley, I did see what you did there. Enough on his plate, fat Frank. Yeah, I did see what you did there. Very good. Very good. Right, you're all having a chat with each other, which is lovely. I'm going to scroll down, and we are going to move on. Oh, Ronnie wants Bowen at Spurs. Says our second resident Spurs fan. Well, you ain't having him. I can guarantee you that. Danny Dyer would kill him.
Could do him on the bench maybe.
Let's move to the London Stadium next. Well, I ain't going to talk about this for long because it doesn't deserve much airtime. West Ham 2, Sheffield United 0. Look, we just got to say how it was. It was a really, really bad football match. I expected us 2-0 at half time to maybe push on in the second half, get a couple more. That wasn't the case, but 2 well-taken goals against a side where the 2 and look, this is what I will say. It was a training game against the side that the two informed teams so far this season have struggled against, Tottenham and Manchester City. Both sides have left it late against Sheffield United, and the game was won by half time, which was a nice luxury to have. Two well taken goals. Bowen, 5 goals in 7 games, at a very good start to the season. And Souček scored, and he's equalled his record tally in the Premier League so far this season, I believe. So look, in all competitions, that is. And I think, look, it wasn't at all fashionable. It wasn't at all pretty, but we got the job done. I was astounded. I don't think I've watched a worse team live in front of goal than Sheffield United. Some of the chances and final balls and shots they had weren't even Championship or League One level. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. And yeah, Sean, you were right. The goal kicks hurried up after we scored. I will give you that. They did hurry up, but there's not much to talk about. 3 points are 3 points, and I think we needed it to get back on track against, obviously after losing 2 back-to-back games in the Premier League. We've got Newcastle, which is obviously going to be a more difficult game next Sunday. So yeah, it is what it is. Then we play Villa after the international break, and we always beat them, so that's no problem, is it, Josh?
Yeah, exactly. Probably will do.
Exactly. Right, let's take some comments on it. The win is all that matters. It certainly is. All Pro thinks I'm being harsh. We bossed them first half, entertaining. Second half, we didn't bother. Yeah, look, we scored 2 goals and dominated it. But I wouldn't call it entertaining as much as you. Yeah, second half it was like, let's just think about it. We could have left at half time and it wouldn't have made much difference. But it is what it is. We got Freiburg, of course, on Thursday. I forgot about that. That's away. Nobody can go in because of UEFA. Good job to them. So yeah, we've got them on Thursday, and then Newcastle on Sunday. Come on, you two. I know you've been eager to talk about it. We're going to break this down, otherwise this could turn into a long spiral of utter chaos. Sean, talk about the game first.
I'm glad you said you're going to break it down, because I was going to break it down as well.
Okay.
But
Right. What we'll do is we'll go 2 minutes to you, 2 minutes to Josh, and then we'll talk about VAR. Go.
Well, the game, it was a strange game, because I thought it was a very even sort of match up to about the 25-minute mark. I don't actually think either team's played that well. I think a lot of Tottenham fans think it was our worst 45 minutes in the first half. Obviously, the red cards, we're going to come on to all that in a minute. They changed the game. I think as soon as they went down to, the goals went in, we sort of battered them a little bit when it went to 10 v 11. When they went down the 9, obviously took off all 4 of their forwards come off, and we sort of batter them a little bit without. I think Alisson, he came out man of the match. You know what I mean? So from a footballing perspective, the result was fair, if you could say that. The better team did win the game. If we're focusing purely on football in this section, do you know what I mean? But Tottenham, they found a brilliant open in the last minute, got the winner, put the pressure on. They keep going to the line. It was a strange game to judge the quality of the football, because when a team goes down to 10, obviously Tottenham are going to outplay most teams to get a man sent off, or every team. And then when he went down the 9, obviously Klopp just shut up shop, didn't he? So it's a strange game. But even when it was 11 v 11, I thought it was very even. Didn't think there was loads of quality. I think both teams maybe cancelled each other out a little bit. But yeah, like you said, if you break this down between the football, the decisions and the VAR, and I think it's well worth it at the end as well, talking about what's happened since in the aftermath as well, because some of that's got a bit out of control. Maybe because it's Liverpool fans in the club, a lot might not be surprised of how it's going. But yeah, from the game itself, it wasn't a great game. It's maybe ruined by the red card, but Gary Neville was screaming for it not to be ruined. But if some things have to happen by the letter of the law, they have to happen. And sometimes the football game might suffer from that, but that's just the game we got. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
So just to put a bit of a timeline, so we were leaving Fleet services on about the 85th minute. We got back in the car and Tottenham were completely chucking everything at Liverpool. I turned it down and went, they're going to score, they're going to score. And of course, at this point, I hadn't even really seen the uproar about the offside and everything else. And they did score, and I think there was a sense of inevitability about that, even on the radio, listening to it. And Tottenham got the point. Josh, I'm going to let you open the can of worms first. I don't even know where to start. I think you should probably start with the red card, the first one. I think it's firstly, I'll say I think it's a red card. There's no doubt about it. It's unfortunate, but it is a red card. You know, there was uproar. I don't know if you remember, but Balbuena had exactly the same thing where he kicked the ball a couple of years ago against Chelsea, and his stub went into Chilwell's calf. It's a pretty similar situation, and you know, if you look at it a specific way, because he's been sent off for kicking a ball, yes, but you know, and Sean, I know you've mentioned it on various occasions, he could have broken his leg easily. Josh, right decision or not?
I think it was. I know it's definitely accidental, but still, when you go in the studs like that and you're catching that high up, it's still a red card. And his foot sort of slips on the ball, doesn't it? But like, it's still when you go in like that and you're catching that high up, to me, that is a red card. However, the offside, no, it was stupid. I think it's come out now that they're saying the VAR, they thought they were checking for a goal and not the offside. So the officials told the referee, yeah, that's fine. Like, as in, that's fine for the goal. But they actually were supposed to be checking. The referee thought he meant it was fine, as in, it's not a goal. So that, which is just embarrassing, really. Although I do think Liverpool fans have taken it far too far. Like, I think everything else in that game, I think the red cards were fair. I think for Jota's one, all right, the first yellow card was unfortunate, but he still takes him down. And when you're on a yellow card, don't do a tackle so stupid like that, because you know you're going to go. So I think really it was only the offside goal he'd be unhappy about. And it's like, because they had one decision go against him for like the first time ever, they all don't like it because they're not used to it, basically. And there's just uproar everywhere, and they're taking it very far, like way too far. They did do well considering they had 9 men and had the defended like very well, but it was just inevitable that Tottenham were going to score in the end. I think they tried to play like down the middle a bit, like as guy, as if Liverpool never had 10 men, whereas there was 2 wide men, 3 every time, where they should have just started using the flanks a bit more. But I suppose it doesn't matter in the end because they got the win. But I'm honest. I was made up when he scored.
I bet you were. Right, a couple of things I'm going to chuck at you, and the most part, Sean, I agree with what you said. Firstly, the referee, from what I've seen, I don't really think he did much wrong because the offside was nothing to do with him. And the only thing that I think he probably did wrong, and I know you've commented on it, was the left back. One hand was like this when he was down on the floor. One hand was like that, which clearly signifies he wanted a yellow card.
No, right. Quickly wrap for Stonewall Red. It annoyed me. Gary Neville was moaning it shouldn't be, and he kept using the word intent. He didn't. Doesn't matter. A commentator of that level should know that it doesn't matter. He was just annoyed that the game was a bit rude. Well, tough luck if someone's going to go in like that. If he snapped Basuma's leg, everyone would have said red card. It wouldn't even been a debate. Okay, the Udogie one is. It's two-pronged, this one, because firstly, I thought the main thing the referee got wrong in the game, and this hasn't been mentioned much, Liverpool scored from a free kick they were wrongly awarded. Udogie won the ball and sort of followed through, not dangerously like Elliot Curtis did. He sort of slid in behind, accidentally won the ball. Okay,
see, that's where the fine line is with it, is because Jones went in and it was dangerous. He won the ball, but was dangerous.
Yeah.
Udogie won the ball, and when the studs were down, there was no danger with it.
Yeah.
So you could link the two together and say, well, yeah, one was dangerous and rightly a red card, but one of them wasn't. He still won the ball, but he still took the man with it.
Yeah, it's a perfect example, but as you can imagine, I've been dragged into a few debates with Liverpool fans I shouldn't have got sucked into, and they're trying to justify that Udogie's was an ankle breaker. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, with the Udogie with the yellow card, what I will say to that, because a few people have mentioned that, it's just literally clutching at straws, and I'll come on to it the aftermath in a minute, which is all linked into this. And I think they who's the former player, Mellor, who's played for Liverpool. He said it's wrong. Yeah. If he put the yellow, waved the yellow card for that, yeah, by letter of the law, that's the second yellow. However, I've not seen a photo or video footage of him actually doing that. All I've seen is a photo of him having one hand in the air like this from a distance, zoomed in. Okay, so he might have done it, and if he did, he deserved the yellow card. Totally correct. But we can't. That's almost clutching at straws decision, because we haven't actually seen. I haven't seen. Have you seen anything with him waving his hand like a yellow, like you would? You haven't, have you?
I think we've all seen the still with him with one hand like this and one hand like that. Yeah.
You could interpret it different ways. You know when you're claiming for a free kick, like what's that? He's done that. Also, as well, those Jota deserved to go. You got to remember, 2 minutes before the first yellow, he pulled Basuma back, and they were saying he was lucky not to get yellow for that. So
it's a stupid, idiotic challenge in any game on a yellow card, and even when your team's down to 10 men as it is, to make that challenge on a yellow card from Jota is absolutely ridiculous. And even with everything else that's gone on, those two things, I don't think there's any doubt about them.
Yeah.
Obviously, the offside, and Sean, finish it off.
Yeah, the offside about that. But what's annoyed me worse, and I think a lot of people won't be surprised. Liverpool fans do get carried away. Any Liverpool fan, you can't say they won't. They don't, because they do. But the weird thing is, this is their battle. They've got an argument. I thought the statement was over the top for starters, and I think a few people have agreed with that. There's going to be a massive inquest, because let's be honest, there's something to go so wrong in the VAR room. There's going to be one, and they can pursue it. The club statement, I don't think it was needed. But anyway, it's triggered Liverpool fans. Liverpool fans now almost are treating this like a war and a rivalry with Tottenham. There's like proper big fan pages, like huge ones, put in, I think it's May the 4th, we will get revenge when Tottenham go to Anfield. This has got nothing to do with Tottenham. It's got nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club at all, okay? Like, we've all had shocking decisions. We haven't mentioned the game with the Brentford Forest game yesterday. That was a stonewall penalty. Do you know what I mean? Some are even say replay the match. You pick West Ham's worst ever decision of VAR. Let's replay that game.
Stupid, it is. Right, and I think the issue we've got here is Sky Sports have put together a really interesting sort of couple of page document where it shows every apology that PGMOL have provided. 14 they've given, and Josh Villa mentioned a few times in it, and this is where Liverpool have gone stupid here. They're getting, accordingly, whether it's true or not, I've got no idea. Whether they want lawyers involved, they're going to get a resolution, all the rest of it. But if that happens, then you, as a Villa fan, can go, well, hang on, we had a decision last year that went against us. We want that match replayed. It's a worrying spiral, Josh.
Yeah,
we've had many more decision points than they have. Like, it's because they're not used to it, because they never have to go against them before that fight. Yeah.
What the difference here? Like, I think that even there's been like graphs come out since VAR come in. Liverpool have benefited the second most from any team.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
I'm not saying in fairness, but I think that's wrong, because why this is worse is because this is the whole VAR of human error failing, basically. The communication, like I've seen earlier on the chat, the two in VAR were in Saudi doing an exhibition game 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So that you've got to look at the PGMOO, maybe put the men in who pick the officials. They shouldn't be in there. They probably shouldn't even allow them to go and do an exhibition match over there. If you're signed to the FA as one of our officials, you shouldn't be doing exhibition matches mid-season.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? That's shocking. On the ref, I know he sort of picked a couple of the Udogie moments a little bit. By the way, Udogie has been massively racially abused by fans as well. Not saying this is Liverpool hardcore, but he's had hundreds of things like that. The FA haven't commented on that yet, by the way. Tottenham has done a statement. No, nothing on that. This is Liverpool's gripe with the PGMO, the Premier League, call it what you want. And I get why they're really annoyed, because this is the first one, hopefully the last, where the whole system has failed. Yeah. The whole system has failed. the whole communication, like it's even as bad as like the VAR. Well, they're set up in what do they call home of the FA, aren't they? So they're like 100 miles away from the Tottenham Stadium, whatever it is, in the middle of the country. Stockley Park, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that takes is a breakdown in the communication. I'm sure your phone's bad with 3G, just like mine is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's.
And the issue you've got as well, and before we get on to resolutions and the rest of it, Josh, when they released a couple of weeks ago, they released some footage of what went on for specific incidents, and it was one that I remembered, and somebody replayed it to me today. It was the Man City game where was he obstructing when the ball went in at the Etihad a few weeks ago, and so you've got the linesman having his 2 pence. So you've got the fourth official, you've got the referee, you've got the VAR, and you've got the assistant VAR. You've got like 5 people talking at once. It looks like chaos. And no wonder they're making bad decisions, because you haven't got one person sitting there going, you know what? Yeah, this. It's not clear because it's frantic, it's chaotic. And it seems like when a pressure situation comes, they seem to find explanations to make these decisions where common sense is left at the door.
Yeah. I listened to them, Brazil. It's just like I couldn't really understand what was going on. Hearing about 5 different voices at once. Like I just thought they'd be a bit more organised, sort of thing. Like, but yeah, I'd like to hear another one of them, but I don't think that makes that much difference. I'd rather like hear what they're saying like in the game or just something different, because it's just stupid. Like I'd rather have no technology at all, like even moving goal line technology, if it means just to get rid of VAR now. It's just
yeah. I know that Monday Night Football have demanded, or they've tried to get the footage. I don't know whether they've got it or not.
Why do they need that though? Because we know what's gone wrong. Like Josh said earlier, they thought a goal was awarded, so we know what do we want to have the footage to laugh at them. So we know what happened. It's not going to change anything. And I know a lot of us, like, put on Facebook, VAR's got to go. But it won't go because we're one of the major leagues in the world, and they won't just get rid of the Premier League. It's a UEFA strong. It's here to stay. But one thing we can do is change the kind of technology we use. Now I know in this instance the technology is not to blame, so that tells you that human error can still cause a massive, massive problem, and that's without us getting into 2 random officials having these decisions down to interpretation, like the foul, maybe the penalty, like the Brentford game yesterday. So it's the communication between the humans that's got to improve clearly. Like I personally think VAR should be controlled from every stadium. I don't think there should be a central hub in the country controlling all these things. I think someone should be in the stadium, whether it's just the 4th official who can have another look on the side on the monitor. I don't know. I think it's got to be in-house. I think it's got to be on the spot there. And apparently, I didn't know this, but as soon as we kicked off Liverpool, as soon as we kicked the free kick, from the offside, as soon as the game resumed, they can't pull that back.
Yeah.
And with penalties, is that not different? Because you see, sometimes games carry on for ages, don't they?
For ages, like 2 minutes, and then they pull it back. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's got a complete mess. I think Liverpool. I could understand they're angry, but them having one appalling, very bad VAR decision, it's mainly the fans, because Klopp was actually quite good after the game.
Yeah.
But then again, he was saying it's almost their fans get fueled a lot. Like Gary Neville didn't help. I think in hindsight, Gary Neville might have probably shut his mouth for that red card and kept quiet. Like I think him and Redknapp just didn't like the game. They wanted 11 versus 11, 2 attacking sides. We all want that sometimes, but if you got to go. You got to go. Do you know what I mean? If that was one of my players that did that, I think we're in trouble here. Do you know what I mean? I would not think. I'm not delusional enough to think that is not a leg breaker, and he'd be very lucky to stay on for that. Very lucky.
I agree.
But then it's just like, then even like you got Jota, you might be getting fined now because he made a comment that Liverpool played 12 men. Jota's missus is on Instagram writing that the game was rigged. Do you know what I mean? It's like at some point you got to get a grip, and this is what fuels OTC fans who get a bit hysterical. Like I said, now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this is a Tottenham Liverpool rivalry. Tottenham fans are just laughing at them. Do Do you know what I mean? We're putting them in their place a bit like what I have, like with on him. Most of us have agreed tonight, like, oh, this decision, but you had this, but you had this. I actually thought the ref had a good game on the whole. Do you know what I mean? But in their head, because they've been hard done by, all of a sudden, the two Reds were wrong. Udogie should, in their head, they should have won the game 2-1 and Tottenham were down to 10 men and they had 11. Do you know what I mean? It's just a complete delusion. It's like, what world are you living in? But there you go. You can't stop them. And obviously, we've had some shocking luck against Liverpool. I think I mentioned it last week. They're our bogey team. Like, ball hits Sissoko in the armpit in the Champions League final after 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? No one's calling for that to be replayed.
But I think the issue is that pretty much every club in this league are laughing at Liverpool over the last 24 hours. And Josh, I'm sure you can think of a moment as well. I can think off the top of my head 2 blatantly wrong VAR decisions we've had against Liverpool over the last 2 years. But we don't put out statements and we don't demand matches to be replayed. We've just gone with
petition.
Exactly.
They've appealed, haven't they, for that red card? They'll probably get it overturned now and then. They got that McAllister one overturned the Bournemouth as well, which I'm not sure. I reckon they'll overturn it just to soften them up a bit. I reckon that's what they'll do. And I think that from now on they'll go back to giving them everything again because they know if they just have power. Because they know if they're going to do it again, then Liverpool will just kick off again. So like they'll get it now and telling you from now to the end of the season that they will not have another dodgy decision like that go again.
You've got to remember as well. I think Liverpool this season. I'm trying to think of another one. I think they've been awarded the softest penalty of the season I've seen. Was it
Bournemouth one? Was it against Bournemouth?
Was that new? I can't pronounce his name. Did he sort of just dive over the leg with no contact? Yeah. I think that was the softest penalty I've seen all season. So they had that gift. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring up Bournemouth. Maybe they want that game replaced. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They'll get another apology. This needs to be investigated. The staffing issue probably seems like a big problem with VAR, and I think they need to change where it's done. But at some point, Liverpool's got to move on. They don't help their fans' hysteria. It's almost like they just fuel the fire constantly. But yeah, it's a shame. Like, it was a shocking decision. There's no one can deny that, and I haven't seen one person say it wasn't that. But just don't make things worse. We're on Monday now. That's Saturday tea time. I'll wake up tomorrow and there'll be a load more people just keep going and going and going. It's ridiculous. This is the same team, mind, that when Salah got remember Ramos clattered him in the Champions League final. Remember, I think it was when Gareth Bale scored the overhead kick when they lost in the final. They were writing petitions and all that for Ramos to get banned. And do you know what I mean?
They're a strange bunch. I'll tell you what, them and Arsenal are the 2 strangest bunches in this whole.
Oh, the things I've read, I've even read that some fans have even blamed the Arabs that own Man City paying off VAR to keep Liverpool at the title race. I've even read that one, and it's just not people joking. This is like, do you know what I mean?
Utterly ridiculous. Right, 2 questions left. A final resounding thought and a prediction for Chelsea versus Fulham. Josh.
I don't know. I think Fulham will probably win. Chelsea will batter them again, and they just won't take the chances. So I'm probably going to go 1-0 Fulham. I don't think Pochettino will go though. I don't think he's attacking yet.
Yeah, 1-0 Fulham. I agree. Willian for my fantasy league points would be lovely tonight. A nice little free kick would do. Sean, a final thought and a prediction for Chelsea Fulham.
My final thought is I just hope this can be taken as a positive. This decision on Saturday evening. Do you know what I mean? I just hope something good comes from it because it's got to come from it. Maybe this is what we've been waiting for. Maybe we've needed the one which is 100% wrong because this one is not many have been 100% wrong. A lot of them are that's tight, that's an armpit away, or that's this is 100% wrong. We know that. So now something needs to change. Anyway, we need to move on from that, and more importantly, on the game tonight, I'm not going to watch it because Married at First Sight's on in an hour's time.
Oh, Christ,
and I'll be honest, I got more interested in that than watching Chelsea. I think Poch probably lasts. I think he comes to our place early November, so I hope he lasts. But I think I haven't seen the team, but I think it might be about a 1-0.
Yeah, there we go. Right, just for a bit of an update on our fantasy Premier League, because I've remembered for once this week, it's looking rather tight in our league. I must admit, I've had a decent week, and currently Josh, you are 2 points ahead of me. Look at this.
I've had a shocking week as well.
Look at this. You're 2 points ahead of me. I've had 72 this week. Josh has picked up 46. I'm on 413. Josh is on 415. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm going to have to scroll down.
I can't even. I'll be honest. I can't even remember who's in my team at the moment.
Where are you? Have I gone past you?
Doubt it.
What's your team called?
Angie's Army.
Oh, right. Where is
We're
it?
near. I'll be near the bottom.
Yeah, there you are. 58 on 357. Right,
click on my team. Who have I got?
No, well, it's not too. Oh, you got Colwell tonight.
Who about
Let
Cole?
me zoom out. There we go.
Usually I got a lot of players that are injured playing. I forget I've got it. I took a gamble and put the it was that Cunha when he went. I took a gamble that he hadn't played hardly.
So yeah, you've got Colwell tonight. Well, yeah, you got 30 points this week, Sean. So you went had the best of weeks.
Yeah, not very good.
No.
Yeah, good job Udogie didn't get sent off. That'd been
It was. Good stuff. Married at First Sight starts at 9. Have you not got anything better to watch, Sean? Like, have you not got some sort of like drama to watch or something?
I've got some serial killer stuff to catch up on.
Well, why don't you watch that instead?
I know. I what it is. I like watching all these like Love Island and Married at First Sight. I enjoy the arguing. It makes me feel better about my marriage.
Oh, dearie me. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Corey's happy because we haven't talked about Man United. We'll do that next week. Don't worry about that, Corey.
The only worth thinking about United is they got a leaky roof they're moaning about. That's the only thing that
They've
matters.
always got a leaky roof. That place leaks constantly, permanently. There we go. Sean, Josh, pleasure as always. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
No worries.
Okay, mate. Been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Let's hope next week we can talk about the football, not the decisions off of the pitch. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.